Admiral Krell stood on the bridge of his command ship. He was tall with grey skin and 6 fingers on each hand. His yellow eyes narrowed as he watched the screens showing Earth. "Such a weak planet," he said. "Look at them. They fight each other over tiny pieces of land. Their leaders shout and argue. Their weapons use simple explosives and metal bullets." His second-in-command, Officer Merck, nodded. "True, but they have spirit. They adapt quickly." Krell laughed. "Spirit? What good is spirit against our energy beams? Their strongest bombs could not scratch our smallest ship." On the screens, they watched cars moving through city streets. People walked to work. Children played in parks. Soldiers marched in straight lines at military bases. "The High Command wants your report," Merck said. "What will you tell them?" Krell pressed a button. A screen lit up, showing 3 older Craxians sitting at a long table. They wore gold armor and had more markings on their grey skin. "High Command," Krell said with a bow. "I have studied Earth for 3 months. These humans are weak. They are divided into many countries that do not work together. Their weapons are simple. Their spaceships can barely reach their own moon." He smiled. "This will be an easy victory." The leader of the High Command nodded. "Begin the attack in one Earth day. Take their major cities first." "Yes, High Command." Krell bowed again. The screen went dark. On Earth, Captain Woojin Kim sat at his control panel in the South Korean space. Defense Force Base. The clock showed 3:15 a.m. Most people were sleeping. Woojin sipped his coffee and watched his screens. Something blinked. A small dot appeared and disappeared on his radar. Then another, and another. Woojin sat up straight. He pressed buttons quickly, checking different views. More dots appeared, then vanished. He grabbed his phone. "General Park, this is Captain Kim. I'm seeing strange signals in the upper atmosphere. Something big is up there." General Sumin Park's tired voice came through the phone. "Are you sure? Space junk, maybe?" "No, sir. These are too big and moving in patterns. They appear and disappear like they have some kind of cloaking technology." There was silence. Then, "I'll be there in 10 minutes. But 7 minutes later, the dots on Woojin's screen stopped hiding. 20, 30, 50 ships appeared on radar all at once. "No," Woojin whispered. He grabbed the emergency phone. The ships moved into position above major cities worldwide. Seoul, New York, Tokyo, London, Moscow, Beijing, and dozens more. President Jeong Lee was woken by his security team. They rushed him from his bedroom to the elevator that would take him to the underground bunker. "What's happening?" he asked, still putting on his jacket. "Unknown spacecraft, sir. Hundreds of them. They're positioning above our cities." The elevator. Doors closed. As they descended, the first attacks began. Bright blue beams of energy shot down from the Craxian ships. Where they hit, buildings exploded. A single beam cut through the center of Seoul, carving the city in half. Another beam hit the main military base outside the city, turning tanks and planes to ash. The same happened in cities around the world. The Craxians targeted government buildings, military bases, power plants, and communication centers. In his underground bunker, President Lee watched the screens in horror. Each screen showed a different city burning. "Casualties?" he asked. "Millions already, sir, and climbing." His defense minister looked pale. "Our missiles aren't reaching them. The ships have some kind of shield. Fighter jets are being shot down." Before they get close, a communications officer spoke up. "Sir, we're receiving a transmission. It's being broadcast worldwide on all channels." "Show me," the president said. Admiral Krell's face appeared on the main screen. His yellow eyes looked directly at the camera. "People of Earth," he said in perfect English, "I'm Admiral Krell of the Craxian Empire. Your planet is now under our control. Your militaries are destroyed. Your cities burn. Surrender now and some of you may live as our workers. Resist and we will destroy what remains of your civilization." The message ended. The room was silent except for the beeping of computers and the distant rumble of explosions above. Someone said, "What do we do?" President Lee stood up straight. His face was calm, but his eyes burned with a fierce light. "We contact every remaining government, every military leader, every scientist and engineer still alive. We go underground, we plan, we wait." He looked at the screens showing the burning cities. "They think they know humans. They think we will break easily and surrender." His hands tightened into fists. They think they know what humans are capable of, he said quietly. They have no idea. Admiral Krell stood on his ship, looking down at Earth through the large viewing window. 1 month had passed since the attack. Cities still burned below. The humans should have surrendered by now. Instead, his reports showed growing problems. Commander, Krell is requesting to speak with you, Officer Merck said. Krell nodded. The screen lit up, showing Commander Grell, the leader of ground forces. His grey face looked worried. Admiral, the humans are not acting normally, Grell said. When we conquered the Zentari system, they surrendered after 3 days. The Blurak people gave up after 1 week. But these humans, he shook his head. Explain? Krell demanded. They're working together, Admiral. Countries that used to fight each other now share resources and information. We can't find their leaders. They've gone underground, and our patrols keep disappearing. Krell frowned. Disappearing? How? Last week, a patrol of 20 soldiers vanished in the mountains they call Alps. Yesterday, our main communication relay in the Amazon forest was destroyed. 3 supply ships over the Sahara Desert have gone missing. The humans are fighting back, but not in ways we understand. Krell's yellow eyes narrowed. They are primitives. Crush them harder. We're trying, sir, but they hide and strike when we don't expect it. They're learning too quickly, and they've captured some of our technology. Deep underground in what used to be a car factory near Seoul, Dr. Hyejin Cho wiped sweat from her forehead. Around her, 30 engineers and scientists worked on different parts of the damaged Kraxian scout ship. The ship had crashed after being hit by 1 lucky missile during the first attack. Dr. Cho, look at this, called one of her team members. The energy flow here matches what you predicted. Hyejin moved to the glowing blue core of the alien engine. 6 months ago, she had been designing electric cars. Now she was trying to understand alien technology that could save humanity. Yes, she said. Their energy system uses principles similar to our quantum field theories. Different materials, but same basic science. Colonel Tae-Woo Kang entered the lab. He had dark circles under his eyes from lack of sleep. Please tell me you have good news, Doctor. Hyejin nodded. I do. Their propulsion system isn't magic. It's advanced, yes, but it follows physical laws we understand. We can adapt this technology, build our own versions. How long? 3 months to make a working prototype. 6 months for weapons that can hurt their ships. Tae-Woo looked relieved. That's faster than we hoped. The President will be happy to hear this. How are things outside? Hyejin asked. Better than expected. The resistance grows stronger every day. People are angry, not broken. And the Kraxians don't understand humans very well. On the other side of the world, in a forest in what used to be Canada, Major Yunha Park watched as Chinese and American soldiers trained together. 6 months ago, these men would have seen each other as enemies. Now they worked side by side, learning to fight the real enemy. The Kraxians have better weapons, Yuna told the soldiers, but they think in straight lines. They expect us to fight like them, army against army in the open. That's how they've always won before. We won't do that. She pointed to a map. They control the cities and main roads. But Earth is our home. We know every mountain, every forest, every desert. We'll hit them where they don't expect us. Take their equipment, disappear before they can react. A Chinese soldier raised his hand. But they can track our electronic signals. How do we communicate? Yuna smiled. Old ways, hand signals, animal sounds, marked trees, paper messages. The Kraxians rely too much on technology. That will be their weakness. The Kraxian Empire ships hung in the darkness of space, hidden from Earth's eyes. For 3 months they watched the blue planet, studying its people, cities, and weapons. In the Swiss Alps, a small team of European resistance fighters watched. As a Kraxian patrol marched along a narrow mountain path, the aliens looked confident, their energy rifles held loosely. Now, whispered the team leader. They triggered the explosives they had planted the night before. The mountain path collapsed. The Kraxians fell screaming into the deep valley below. In the Amazon rainforest, Brazilian resistance fighters cut the power lines to the main Kraxian communication relay. When the alien technicians came out to check the problem, silent arrows found their targets. The humans then planted bombs inside the facility, destroying it completely. In the Sahara Desert, Moroccan and Algerian fighters used old knowledge of hidden water sources and desert paths. They attacked Craxian supply ships at night, taking their technology and supplies. Commander Grell sat in his base looking at the latest reports. 30 patrols missing, 5 communication relays destroyed, 7 supply ships gone, and now rumors of humans studying Craxian technology. He sent an urgent message to the fleet. The humans are not behaving according to conquest patterns. They unite instead of divide. They fight from shadows instead of open battle. They learn our technology too quickly. Request additional support immediately. Admiral Krell read the message twice. This was not how conquests were supposed to go. For the first time, he felt something new. Worry. Send 2 more battle fleets, he ordered Officer Merck. We will crush this unexpected resistance. But as he looked down at Earth, Admiral Krell wondered if the Craxian Empire had finally met an enemy they didn't understand. Professor Junho Lee's hands shook as he looked at the test results. He had been working in this underground lab for months. The lab was hidden beneath the ruins of Daejeon City in South Korea. Above him, Craxian soldiers patrolled the broken streets, but they never found this place. Junho stared at the dead Craxian on the table. The alien had been killed in a resistance attack last week. Its grey skin had turned darker after death. Its yellow eyes were now closed forever. Professor, are you sure about this? Asked his assistant. Junho nodded. Yes. Look at these brain scans. See this part here? It's like our brain stem, but more complex. And look what happens when we apply this specific electromagnetic frequency. On the screen, they could see how the alien brain tissue reacted strongly to the test. The cells seemed to shake and break apart. Their neural systems are extremely sensitive to this frequency, Junho explained. It's like a severe allergic reaction. This could be the weakness we've been looking for. His assistant looked worried. But how do we use this? We can't get close enough to their ships to use short-range electromagnetic weapons. Junho smiled, for the first time in months. That's where Dr. Cho's work comes in. If her team can adapt the Craxian energy cores like they promised, we can build weapons that can reach their ships. 3 days later, Junho presented his findings to the United Earth Defense Council. The council met in a large underground room. On screens around the room, leaders from around the world watched and listened. Their neural systems are vulnerable to specific electromagnetic frequencies, Junho explained. We've tested this on 3 different Craxian bodies with the same results. Their brain tissue breaks down when exposed to this frequency for more than 5 seconds. President Jiong Lee leaned forward. Can we build weapons using this knowledge? Yes. Mr. President, Dr. Cho's team has successfully reverse-engineered their energy cores. We can build electromagnetic pulse weapons powered by their own technology. If we can hit their ships with these pulses, their crews will be incapacitated or killed. For the first time since the invasion, there was hope in the room. How soon can we have these weapons ready? Asked the Russian leader on one of the screens. Dr. Cho says 2 weeks for the first batch. We'll need to test them, of course. President Lee stood up. Make it happen, Professor. This is the first real chance we've had. 2 weeks later, at a hidden airfield in the Australian outback, Captain Sun Mi Yoon inspected her fighter jet. It didn't look like much, an old F-35 with strange modifications. But inside it carried the world's first hybrid human Craxian weapon. Are you sure this will work? She asked the engineer, checking the systems. As sure as we can be, the engineer replied. The electromagnetic pulse generator draws power from the Craxian energy core we installed. It should have enough range to hit their ships from a safe distance. But you'll still need to get closer than I'd like. Sunmi nodded. She looked at the other 11 pilots preparing their jets. They were the best pilots left on Earth. Each had shot down at least 1 Craxian fighter during the initial invasion, before the aliens had destroyed most of Earth's air forces. Listen up, she called to her squadron. This is the mission we've been waiting for. The Craxian base in Alice Springs controls their operations for all of Australia and the Pacific. Our job is to hit them with these new weapons and see if Professor Lee's discovery works. A pilot raised his hand. And if it doesn't work? Sunmi's face was serious. Then we probably don't come back, but we have to try. The jets took off as the sun was setting. They flew low, using the landscape to hide from Craxian sensors. As they approached Alice Springs, they could see the alien base glowing with blue lights. 5 Craxian ships hovered above it. "Remember," Sunmi said through the radio, "we need to get within 5 kilometers to fire the pulse weapons. After that, the standard missiles should work on any ship still flying." The squadron split into 3 groups and approached from different directions. The Craxians spotted them when they were 7 kilometers out. Alien fighters launched from the larger ships. "Now," Sunmi ordered. The human jets pushed forward at maximum speed. Craxian energy beams flashed around them. 2 human jets exploded, but the rest got close enough. Sunmi pressed the new red button on her control panel. Her jet shuddered as the electromagnetic pulse fired. It was invisible, but she could see the effect immediately. The nearest Craxian ship stopped firing. It drifted sideways, then began to fall. Around her, the other jets fired their pulse weapons too. 3 more Craxian ships began falling from the sky. The alien fighters flew in confused patterns, some crashing into each other. "It works," someone shouted over the radio. "The pulse weapons work." Sunmi led the remaining jets in to fire regular missiles at the last Craxian ship and the base below. Without the alien shields working properly, the missiles hit their targets. Explosions lit up the night sky. For the first time since the invasion, humans had won a major battle. On the Craxian command ship, Admiral Krell faced the War Council on the large screen. The 3 gold-armored leaders looked angry. "Explain this defeat," demanded the head of the council. "It was unexpected," Krell admitted. "The humans have adapted our technology faster than any species we've encountered before. They've discovered a weapon that affects our neural systems." Strategic analyst Mrek stepped forward. "These humans improvise in ways we cannot predict. They integrate our technology with theirs at impossible speeds. Our models didn't account for this level of adaptation." High Commander Drex, the oldest council member, waved his 6-fingered hand dismissively. "One defeat is meaningless. How many ships do we have in the second wave waiting to launch?" 500 battle cruisers, High Commander, Krell answered. "Then, send them all," Drex ordered. "Crush their resistance completely. No more waiting, no more underestimating these creatures." As the screen went dark, Admiral Krell turned to Mrek. The strategic analyst's yellow eyes showed concern. "Will it be enough?" Mrek asked quietly. Krell didn't answer. For the first time in his long military career, he wasn't sure. President Jiong. Lee stood in the main command center deep underground. Large screens showed maps of Earth with red dots marking Craxian bases. Green dots showed human resistance forces ready to attack. Almost a year had passed since the invasion. The second wave of Craxian ships had arrived 3 months ago, but humans were ready this time. "Operation Phoenix is go," President Lee said. "May luck be with us all." Around the world, at exactly midnight GMT, human forces moved against Craxian positions. This was humanity's big gamble. If it failed, there might not be another chance. In what used to be New Delhi, Colonel Jiwon Choi and his team of 50 soldiers moved through dark streets. They wore black and carried weapons that didn't exist a year ago. Human guns with Craxian power cells and electromagnetic disruptors built from Professor Lee's designs. Jiwon checked his watch. 3 minutes to attack time. Ahead, the main Craxian command center for South Asia glowed with blue lights. 6 guard towers surrounded it. Alien soldiers patrolled in perfect patterns, walking the same paths at the same times. "They never change their routines," Jiwon whispered to his second-in-command. "That's their weakness." "They've never needed to before," she replied. "No one has ever beaten them until now." Jiwon gathered his soldiers for final instructions. "Remember, the Craxians fight by the book. Every move planned, every action following rules they've used for centuries." He smiled slightly. "We don't have a book. That's our advantage." At exactly midnight, Jiwon's team attacked, but not from the front as the Craxians might expect. Instead, they had spent weeks digging tunnels under the command center. Explosive. Charges broke through the floor of the Craxian base. Human soldiers poured in from below, while others created distractions at the main gates. The aliens were confused. Their training had no chapter on enemies attacking from beneath their feet. Jiwon's team moved quickly through the base, firing electromagnetic disruptors at any Craxians they saw. The aliens fell instantly when hit by the special frequency. Within 20 minutes, they reached the central control room. 5 minutes later, the entire command center was under human control. Similar attacks were happening at Craxian bases worldwide, but the most important part of Operation Phoenix was happening above Earth. Commander Daeho Park stood on the bridge of humanity's first space warship. They had named it Phoenix, after the operation and the mythical bird that rises from ashes. The ship was an odd mix of human and alien technology, parts from the International Space Station connected to engines from a captured Craxian scout ship. It didn't look impressive, but it could fly and fight. "Status report," Daeho ordered. "All systems working, Commander," his engineer reported. "The Craxian flagship is holding position over Africa. They're watching the battles below. They don't see us yet." Daeho looked at his crew of 30. Pilots, engineers, soldiers, the best Earth had to offer. Their mission was the most dangerous of all. Capture the Craxian flagship and its star maps. "Remember," Daeho told them, "they expect us to attack like they would, directly, with shows of force. So we'll do what humans do best, improvise." The TU. Phoenix moved closer to the massive Craxian flagship. It was time for the trick. "Send the distress signal," Daeho ordered. His communications officer transmitted a signal that looked like it came from a Craxian scout ship. The message reported engine failure and requested immediate assistance. It was a simple trick, but the Craxians were not used to deception in war. They fought openly, proudly. Through the viewing window, Daeho watched as the huge alien ship turned toward them. A voice came through the speakers, a Craxian officer responding to their fake distress call. "Scout ship TK-421, we are lowering shields in Sector 7 to allow you entry for repairs." Daeho smiled. "Perfect." The Phoenix moved carefully toward the EEC opening in the flagship's shields. As they got closer, the size difference became clear. The Phoenix was like a fly next to an elephant. "Remember," Daeho told his boarding team, "we need to reach the bridge and the navigation room. 20 minutes once we're inside, then we have to be gone, with or without what we came for." As the Phoenix entered the Craxian ship's docking bay, alarms suddenly sounded. The aliens had realized this was not a Craxian scout ship. "Go now," Daeho shouted. The boarding team moved fast. They had studied Craxian ship layouts from captured data. 20 soldiers with electromagnetic disruptors ran through the alien corridors. Any Craxians they encountered fell instantly when hit with Professor Lee's special frequency. On the Phoenix, Daeho received updates through his headset. "Bridge secured. Moving to navigation room." 3 minutes later, "Navigation room secured." Downloading star charts and fleet positions, but then heavy resistance, Craxians adapting. "Using protective headgear against our disruptors." Daeho tensed. The aliens were adapting quickly. "Fall back to extraction point. You have 5 minutes." It was the longest 5 minutes of his life. On the screens, he could see more Craxian soldiers moving toward their location. The aliens were learning, changing tactics. Finally, the boarding team returned, carrying wounded comrades. "We got it all, Commander," the team leader said, holding up a data drive. "Complete star charts, fleet positions, and their homeworld coordinates." As the Phoenix escaped from the Craxian flagship, Daeho Park sent a message to Earth. "Phoenix to base. Mission accomplished. We have the stars." For the first time since the invasion, humanity had the means to take the fight to the enemy's home. 6 months after Operation Phoenix, humanity had built a fleet of 20 warships using Craxian technology. Each ship was named after a mythical creature from Earth's cultures. The flagship was called Dragon, commanded by Admiral Min-Ho Kim, once a naval officer from South Korea. The fleet traveled through space using the star maps taken from the Craxian flagship. They passed worlds the aliens had conquered over centuries. On some planets, the local people cheered as human ships flew overhead. Word was spreading across the stars. The unbeatable Craxians had finally met their match. Admiral Min-Ho Kim stood on the bridge of the Dragon as they approached the Craxian home system. She was 52 years old with grey streaks in her black hair. The last 18 months had changed her, changed everyone on Earth. "We're entering their defense zone," her navigator reported. "Sensors show 300 ships protecting their home planet," Mina nodded. "Open a channel to our fleet." On screens around her, the captains of the other 19 ships appeared. "This is it," she told them. "The moment humanity joins the larger galaxy. We all know what the Craxians did to Earth. They killed millions. They destroyed our cities. But remember our mission. We are not here for revenge." The captains nodded. They all understood the plan that Earth's leaders had agreed on after much debate. "Take positions," Minha ordered. "Dragon will move forward alone first. The human fleet spread out in a formation that would allow them to attack if needed." The Dragon moved ahead toward the Craxian homeworld, a large green planet with 3 moons. On the planet below, panic spread. The Craxian Emperor Tsar stood in his palace, watching screens showing the human ships. His advisors argued loudly around him. "How did they find us so quickly?" one shouted. "They can't possibly defeat our home fleet," another said. "We should have killed them all when we had the chance," a third yelled. Emperor Tsar raised his hand for silence. He was older than any human could understand, his grey skin dark with age markings. For 1,000 years, the Craxian Empire had conquered, without serious resistance. Now strange ships from a planet they had attacked just 18 months ago were at their doorstep. "The humans are hailing us," a communication officer reported. "Show me," the Emperor ordered. Admiral Minha Kim's face appeared on the palace's main screen. The humans looked so soft with their smooth skin and small eyes, but the Emperor had learned not to underestimate them. "I am Admiral Minha Kim of Earth," she said. "Your forces attacked our world without provocation. You killed millions of our people. By all rights, we should destroy your world as you tried to destroy ours." The palace was silent. Even the Emperor felt something he had never known, fear. But then Minha continued, "We are not like you. We don't conquer for conquest's sake. We offer terms of surrender that will preserve your civilization." Murmurs of surprise filled the palace. The Craxians had never offered terms to those they conquered. Why would the humans show mercy? Minha listed the terms. First, release all subjugated worlds immediately. Second, dismantle your military fleets. Keep only enough ships for defense and trade. Third, join a new interstellar alliance we will create, as equals, not rulers. Emperor. Tsar studied the human woman on the screen. The Craxian Empire could fight. They had 300 ships against the humans' 20. But reports showed that human weapons could disable Craxian neural systems with a special frequency. And worse, the conquered worlds were already rebelling after hearing about human victories. For the first time in their 1,000-year history, the Craxians faced defeat. The Emperor made the only possible choice. "We accept your terms," he said. Over the next 3 months, the Craxian Empire collapsed. Planets they had ruled for centuries declared independence. Ships that had enforced Craxian will across the galaxy were dismantled. The news spread from world to world. Humans had done what no one thought possible. Admiral Minha Kim and her fleet visited 12 of the largest freed worlds. They invited representatives to a great meeting on Earth. Some aliens were afraid to visit the planet that had defeated the Craxians, but curiosity won over fear. 1 year after the surrender, ships from 50 different worlds arrived at Earth. The aliens were amazed to see that humans had rebuilt many of their cities. Where there had been ruins, new buildings stood. The resilience of humanity impressed even the oldest alien species. The meeting took place in the newly built Unity Dome in what was once Geneva. Beings of all shapes and colors filled the large round room. Some breathed different air mixtures, some needed special gravity controls, but all had come with hope for a new future. Dr. Jae-hyun Kang, Earth's chosen ambassador, walked to the center of the room. He was not a politician or soldier, but a teacher who had helped coordinate resistance education during the occupation. "Welcome to Earth," he said, as translation devices carried his words to all present. "We gather today not as conquerors or conquered, but as equals. The galactic cooperative we form today will be built on respect, not fear, on trade, not tribute, on learning, not domination." He looked around at the alien faces. Humanity never wanted to leave our planet as conquerors. But when forced to fight, we discovered something about ourselves. We are stronger together than apart. This is the lesson we hope to share with all of you. The room filled with sounds of agreement from many different types of beings. On the Craxian homeworld, young students at the Imperial Academy watched recordings of the meeting. Their teacher updated the galactic database on the main screen. Humans, origin, Earth, classification, extreme caution. Notes, never underestimate, never provoke. A student raised his hand. Teacher, if humans are so dangerous, why didn't they destroy us? The teacher looked thoughtful. That is perhaps why they are the most dangerous species we have met. They know when not to use their power. This makes them stronger than we ever were. Outside the academy windows, a new ship from Earth landed. It brought teachers and doctors, not soldiers. The age of the Craxian Empire was over. The age of the Galactic Cooperative had begun. The end.